So, just like anything, there's winners and losers on this. And I've said from the beginning, I can't blame a student athlete or their parents for trying to do what they think is in their best interest.
Tonight, fall sports right around the corner, and many are still concerned about the controversial high school transfer rule, where the law stands 1 year later. Plus, a former West Virginia National Guard airman sentenced for sexually abusing 2 minors. Why a judge is now determining how long he will spend in jail.
Eyewitness News at 6 starts right now.
Good evening, and thank you for joining us tonight. Our top story, the return of school means the return of fall sports, but there is still a lot of people concerned going into this year about the impacts of the new athletic transfer rule. Anna Saunders is live in the studio with details for us. Anna.
Dave, that's right. After 432 student athletes transferred last year for fall sports, those with the West Virginia Secondary Schools Activities Commission say even though they won't get official numbers for transfers this year until mid-fall, they can already say it has not slowed down.
Deemed the high school transfer portal. It's a new state law that last year changed the game. And according to WVSSAC Executive Director David Price, it's still in high demand.
When one class exits, a new class comes in, so it doesn't slow down. Just to give you an answer to that, yesterday alone, there are 4 of us and myself. I had 37 phone calls, emails, and text messages concerning eligibility and transfers alone.
Last year in fall sports, 432 athletes transferred in high school following the law change from the legislature. Price said by the end of the year, that number nearly doubled in winter and spring sports. It used to be student athletes would have to sit out a year if they transferred, deterring people from doing so. Now they can do it one time with no penalty. This created uproar last year after lopsided scores in football became commonplace.
Our schools and coaches, they don't like dealing with it. I mean, it puts them in a bad position, and they tell me that. So, it's challenging for them. And at the same time, it's the law. It's not an SSAC rule, it's a law.
This year, there was an attempt to change the law as Delegate Dana Farrell tried to pass a bill to repeal it. It stalled in committee over concerns that it was too much of a knee-jerk reaction. Farrell says this year will be very telling.
We're going to watch this closely and see, is there going to be an outcry? Are we going to have a number of lopsided scores? Are there going to be some small schools throughout the state that can't field teams because they've lost players? Those are things we're watching for.
So with fall sports underway now and games on the way, it will be all eyes on the scoreboards this year to see what the future holds for West Virginia high school sports.
And I've said from the beginning, I can't blame a student athlete or their parents for trying to do what they think is in their best interest. That's not the issue at all. I think, like I said, it's the collectively what happens and creates these imbalances to the kids that are left behind.
Now, I did ask the SSAC if this is more common in some sports than others, and while they do see this mostly in football and basketball, Price said the transfers happen across the board in all sports. Live in the studio, Anna Saunders, Eyewitness News.
All right, thank you, Anna. A judge says a Boone County man and former master sergeant from the West Virginia Air National Guard will go to prison for sex crimes, but needs more psychological information on him before handing down what could be an up to 200-year sentence. William Craddock was scheduled to be sentenced today, but a final sentence for sexual abuse by a parent, guardian, or custodian is on hold for a 60-day evaluation. 2 victims gave disturbing victim impact statements against an apologetic Craddock. Judge Jay Hoke ruled out probation and home confinement requests from his lawyer, but says he needs more information before he decides if the 10 counts he pleaded guilty to earlier should run at once or one after the other.
Now, that means, in practical terms, will he serve 10 to 20 years, or will he serve 100 to 200 years? I think that everybody here understands the fact that nobody's going to survive that sentence.
Craddock was an aircraft maintainer for the Air National Guard's Charleston-based C-130s, but the crimes which took place between 2001 and 2012 were dealt with by civilian authorities. One victim reported she was abused on at least 300 separate occasions when she was a juvenile.
Well, weather's been all over the place today. First, it was just super hot and muggy, but now we're getting some storms firing up. in some locations, at least some clouds in others. And be careful out there. We've had a couple wrecks on I-64, likely due to the rain, because the Cross Lane St. Albans area has been getting pounded by some downpours recently, and you can see the traffic is slow going there. Charleston, meanwhile, showers are dancing around downtown. We'll see if we can get something. We did get a nice cool down just recently with a little kind of mini front passing on through. But the big downpours right now extend from St. Albans west along Route 60, then down to the southwest around Hamlin, northern parts of Lincoln County getting some good rains, eastern Wayne County. And in fact, that's drifting westward towards Wayne right now. So hopefully you folks will get in on some of that needed rainfall too. Eastern Roane, much of Calhoun County, good rains. But western Roane County, no luck, at least for right now. And these are not moving very much. If anything, there's just kind of a slight westward drift with a lot of this activity. We've also got a couple of eastern Kentucky isolated downpours, too. Temps had backed off. We were just at 99 last hour in Charleston. It's now 88. It's still very muggy out there, but the heat index has backed off below 100 degrees for now. Temps, though, are still going to be in the mid-80s through late evening. Still some scattered downpours out there. Again, it's feast or famine. Some spots can get over an inch of rain this evening. Others get nothing. Overnight, those will fade with some fog as we fall back to about mid-70s. We got more rain to talk about for some of us tomorrow night with Debbie's remnants, and not everywhere. I'll have an update on that in your full forecast in just a bit.
All right, thank you, Doug. Well, recreational pot is now legal in Ohio. Backroad Wellness in Sauter County is one of nearly 100 dispensaries in Ohio where recreational marijuana can be sold. Workers say on the first day of legal sales, people were camped out at their door. They say sales tripled that day, and sales projections are set to quadruple. Customers are reminded there are still legal aspects of buying marijuana, even though the product is legal in the Buckeye State.
Where you consume that after you leave here, right? That's on you. So it is legal in Ohio. Recreational cannabis is legal in Ohio. It is not legal in West Virginia. It is not legal in Kentucky. It's not legal federally. So taking it across state lines is not legal.
And the final rules for smoking pot in Ohio are expected to come down in September.
Eyewitness News Tools for Schools, sponsored by Encova CMM, Capital Ford, the United Way, East Coast Tees, the Charleston Dirty Birds, Capital Mitsubishi, and Q Furniture.
And you know, today has been a big day for our back-to-school supply drive. Anthony Kahn was at Go-Mart Ballpark for a cool way to donate on a very hot day. Take a look.
I'm here at Go-Mart Ballpark in Charleston, home to the Charleston Dirty Birds, and this week home to our Tools for School drive. We're collecting back-to-school supplies for kids in our area. We're hoping to stuff this bus right here we have parked outside of the ballpark, right across from the parking garage here in Charleston. And that's not all. What we're hoping to do, too, is if you come on by, you can give a school supply, and then we'll give you a ticket to a Dirty Birds game. So we've done this the past couple of days, and we have the bin right over here under this tent where many of us from Eyewitness News have been throughout the week. We can put your items right in there as we look to help area kids. And if you haven't been able to take part the past 2 days, one more opportunity. Thursday night, the Dirty Birds will take on the Lexington Legends at 6:35. So we hope to see you out there for that. In Charleston, Anthony Kahn, Eyewitness News.
And coming up, Kamala Harris is now defining her policies as the top Democrat on the ticket. Why some are quick to criticize them. That's next. Making national headlines tonight, Kamala Harris's policies are under intense scrutiny as she shifts toward the middle for the upcoming general election. Kayla Gaskins joins us with a look from Washington.
After being unexpectedly catapulted to the top of the Democratic ticket,
good afternoon, Wisconsin!
Kamala Harris is working to clarify her policy positions as she defines her public image.
I launched my campaign for the President of the United States a mere 2 weeks ago.
In her quest to win over independents and middle-of-the-road voters, Harris taking a more moderate approach that, at times, is in opposition to her past positions, what some are calling a recalibration. Take fracking, for example. As a primary candidate in 2019, Harris said this during a CNN town hall.
There's no question I'm in favor of banning fracking. And this is something I've taken on in California. I have a history of working on this issue.
Her campaign now confirming she won't seek a fracking ban if elected. The shift coming as she tries to court voters in places like Pennsylvania.
Oh, it is good to be back in Pennsylvania.
She's also flipped on supporting a single-payer healthcare system. As a U.S. Senator and primary candidate, Harris staunchly supporting Medicare for all, essentially ending private health insurance.
The idea is that everyone gets access to medical care, and you don't have to go through the process of going through an insurance company.
Harris has yet to take a firm stance on healthcare policy this election. As of Wednesday, her official campaign website still didn't have any policies listed. Harris has also adopted more centrist approaches to border security and police reform than she had in the past. We reached out to her campaign to see when we might expect a list of policies on the website and did not hear back in time for this broadcast. As the GOP criticizes Kamala Harris for shifting views on key issues, supporters are giving her credit, saying the world has changed a lot in the past few years and she's keeping up with what's best for Americans. In Washington, I'm Kayla Gaskins.
You want to cool off? Head to the State Fair, West Virginia. Kicks off tomorrow down there in Fairleigh. Going to be a soggy opening day, though. I think some steady rain breaks out in the afternoon and evening, but that moves out Friday morning. So by evening Friday, it looks good, and the weekend looks fantastic. Highs in the 70s there. We're going to be cooling down locally as well here this weekend. I'll detail the changes ahead next. Well, much higher humidity and an easterly flow around the periphery of Debbie down to the south has led to some storms this afternoon. And they're going to be around for this evening as well, but unfortunately not everywhere. I wish this was a more general rain, and that's not the case. It's feast or famine. Some spots are going to end up with 1-2 inches of rain this evening, others nothing. I think if you're west of the Ohio River, you're probably not getting anything. Northern Kentucky, too, looks like you're pretty much in the clear. Huntington, maybe on the edge. But most of this activity is across central West Virginia and down through southeastern parts of Kentucky. In fact, this zone here west of Route 19, we probably have better rain opportunity this evening, even though it's localized, than we do tomorrow night. Because it looks like a lot of Debbie's rains directly tomorrow night are going to be passing across eastern West Virginia. And Charleston can't even get any luck this evening. I mean, there's a downpour to the east along the turnpike, and then there's all this stuff to the west, but that's going that way. This stuff's just kind of sitting there. So I don't know, maybe later this evening we'll try to get something in downtown Charleston. But right now the focus, St. Albans west, southern half of Putnam County getting hammered. That's a lot of lightning right there just south of Taze Valley and Hurricane. That may drift back towards Hurricane right now. We're starting to see the rain picking up there. But again, the rain is a good thing. I know we can do without the lightning and, driving through this, you be careful, especially since it hasn't rained in a while for some spots. Those roads can get extra slick. But we've had some heavy rain around Hamlin, northern Lincoln County. This is moving into Wayne, too, so get ready for a pretty stout downpour there. And yet southern Lincoln County, not much of anything at all around the Harts area. And Spencer, I mean, this is painful. We had this big downpour in Calhoun County. It was drifting west toward Spencer, and now it's just kind of fading away. So these have kind of a short shelf life. They flare up, and then they fall apart, and then another one forms 30 miles away because of these boundaries that are forming. This is all because of this circulation coming across the mountains here, all around Debbie, which is still down to the south. It's over water, but it's going to be making landfall later tonight near Myrtle Beach as a tropical storm, and then lifting northward. And again, taking that track along I-81 Thursday night into Friday. But that track is just far enough east that for a lot of us, unfortunately, it looks like it's going to be kind of a tease. There will be heavy, steady rain in eastern West Virginia, Route 19 east, and especially into the eastern panhandle tomorrow night. But a sharp western cutoff. And right now, and this could change, we could try to shift this a little further west, but right now, probably along and west of I-79 is where that cutoff will be. Now, there is going to be a front in southeastern Ohio tomorrow evening, and with that east wind, there'll probably be a secondary maximum of some showers and storms along that where it sets up. But unfortunately for a lot of us, this is the rain totals tomorrow night into Friday morning. It's not much. In fact, again, the downpours tonight are probably more promising. But once you get near and east of Route 19, 1, 2, 3 inches of rain, even several inches of rain into the panhandle. Those flood watches in effect there. Even though they're in extreme drought conditions, that will certainly help out with that amount of rain. So for this evening, scattered downpours are going to be around pretty much through midnight before they fade away. So keep an umbrella on hand. If you're east of the Ohio River, you could certainly encounter one for an hour or so. Then we're back to some hazy sun tomorrow. I think we'll pick up enough clouds later in the afternoon from the periphery of Debbie to keep temperatures closer to 90 than rather closer to 100. Still going to be very muggy. And then here's that steady rain shield tomorrow evening, spreading up from the southeast, trying to get up toward I-77 and then stalling out before it shifts off to the east. By Friday afternoon, sun's back out here. We're still about 90 Friday, but it's dry and cooling down this weekend behind that front out to our west. So we're going to see a nice drop in humidity. Temps in the low to mid 80s Saturday and Sunday, and should stay in the 80s for the most part first half of next week at least.
Well, there's a newness to Ripley football in 2024 as Ryan Simon takes over the blue and white. Coming up in our Countdown to Kickoff series, we head to the land of the Vikings on Eyewitness Sports.
Eyewitness News Sky Team is sponsored by Go-Mart.
And it's time now for Eyewitness Sports. It is the dawning of a new era for high school football at Ripley High. A former Viking is set to lead the way. In this edition of Countdown to Kickoff, Sports Director Mark Martin checks in on the blue and the white.
Countdown to Kickoff on Eyewitness Sports, sponsored by Thornhill Auto Group.
While there have been flex days, workouts, 7-on-7s, and weightlifting sessions, Ryan Simon now feels fully entrenched as he begins preseason drills.
Couldn't sleep last night, couldn't sleep a wink. It was up half the night thinking about what we're going to do today. But yeah, so far so good.
Nearly 20 seniors are out for the Vikings, including quarterback Tyson Pritt.
Installed a brand new offense, so him being here and having that experience, he's fit right in. Picked up on a lot of stuff that we've been teaching him. We've been throwing a lot at him, and we've been able to cover a lot of that stuff in flex days. The mechanics and things like that we've tried to fix.
A whole new playbook. A lot of it's based on the defense, and I'm also making a lot of RPOs. A lot of trust in me from the coaches, and I'm really grateful to be an opportunity.
Noah Casto is the top returning running back.
Last year we didn't have a good year, but we're trying to change the culture and get things going. We got a whole new coaching staff, a lot of kids that didn't play before came back out. Kids I've played with my whole life came back out, and we're looking good. It was a rough year last year, but we're working on getting back to playoffs, back to Ripley football.
Carter Neal is an outstanding prospect for the Vikings who is just a junior. Simon feels overall this Viking team has loads of potential.
Up front, we've got several guys that are returning to, and Cody Lawrence, he's playing slot receiver for us. He's a 2-year, so he started his freshman, sophomore year. He's a junior this year, so we got a lot of guys back. Defensive side, a lot of the same guys. Chris Jenkins is a guy that's been back. That's back that he's been playing for a while too. Cody's going to be back there. Noah's going to be on that side of the ball. Ethan Kay is a kid that's really come along. He didn't play last year, but he played his sophomore year, and he started at fullback for us then. So that's another guy that's going to be back, and he's looking really good on defense, looking really good running the ball. Up front, Noah Hall is a returner up front. Defensive line that he's really turned some heads and has been looking good as well.
Ripley's schedule looks completely different from last year, with 7 new schools dotting the slate.
I was really excited that we get more regional games that we played for years and years that we haven't played recently. We've done a lot of traveling to Brook and to Princeton and a lot of these long trips. Now we're able to go to Sissonville, Point, Roan, all these local schools that we played over the years, and we're getting back on the schedule. It's great.
The Vikings open the campaign August 30th at South Charleston. In Ripley with this countdown to kickoff, Mark Martin, Eyewitness Sports.
Boy, it sure looks like it wants to rain in Charleston. Very ominous sky, but showers are the heaviest stuff, at least. Southern Putnam County, Lincoln, Wayne County, kind of drifting west. We'll see if we can get some of that stuff to the east to kind of slide in. So, downpours are around, but it's feast or famine this evening. Tomorrow, a lot of the day, we'll just see increasing clouds. We'll still make it up above 90 with some humidity. Tomorrow night, the steady rain is across eastern West Virginia, but for a lot of us, unfortunately, it looks like a miss. That clears out by midday Friday. Friday evening looks nice, a little toasty, and then temps are cooler and less humid for the weekend.
Yeah, and speaking of the weekend, it looks really nice.
Yeah, very nice weekend.
First nice one we've had in a while, right?
Yeah.
All right. We'll see you on Fox 11, everyone. Make it a great night.